Hey guys! So today I am going to be doing my yearly favorites. I obviously was not here for most of 2017 filming, so you didn't even get to see what products I was loving in the moment. So pretty much I tried to pick out my most used products throughout the year, things I reached for and gravitated to a lot. Because I was working for Clinique for most of the year, I didn't use a whole lot else besides Clinique. I will film a video showing like kind of my go-to look for work when I was working with Clinique. It was very simple, very basic, very easy because I didn't like having to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to get ready for work. Let's just be honest, nobody really likes doing their makeup before work, and when it's mandatory, you know. So I want to get into my favorites for the year. I'm going to start off with my favorite sponge, which was the L'Oreal sponge. This is amazing. I got one right here. It's super soft. It blends out beautifully. I look at this. It blends out beautifully. It applies foundation and powders and however you want to use it just absolutely wonderfully. It's got great bounce to it. It is very, very nice sponge. I love this sponge. So then let's see here. I'm going to start with the face. The only primer I really used was actually a moisturizer. It was a Murad matte moisturizer. I haven't really had like a primer that I was really into besides using that Murad moisturizer as a primer. That worked pretty well. So late in the game, Too Faced came out with this Perfect Peach foundation. It's a comfort matte foundation infused with peaches and sweet fig cream. It's oil-free, 14-hour wear, oil controlling, and photo friendly. This stuff sticks to my skin like nobody's business. I mean, even if I get oily, it does not transfer. Like, I can touch my face, there's no transfer, it doesn't move around, it stays where it's supposed to. I love this stuff. Another one that I used a whole lot was the Wet n Wild foundation, the Photo Focus. I use it in the shade Soft Beige, and the only thing I don't like about it is this weird little spatula applicator thingy. It's kind of bizarre. This is a fabulous foundation. I wouldn't say that it lasts as long as the Too Faced one, but it does last fairly well. I did have one that I used from Clinique a lot, but like I said, it wasn't really a favorite so much as a necessity. Powder. My most used powder of 2017 has to be this e.l.f. finishing powder in Fair Light. I mean, the pan says enough. Like, the pan says it all. I use the crud out of this stuff because it is fabulous. And it goes on the skin beautifully without looking cakey. Does not look cakey. I can even set my under eyes with it, and it doesn't look cakey. And I mean, I can pack that stuff on. I'm pretty sure I do. Doesn't look cakey. Beautiful powder. And it's like $5-6. How do you beat that? Bronzer, just because at this point I'm just grabbing. Obviously, second year in a row, the butter bronzer, it was my favorite. It was my most used. I use it pretty much every day that I do my makeup. There's a few others that I go to here and there, but that is my most used. It is my favorite. I mean, it smells amazing, and I don't know how I've used this for so long and I still have not hit pan, considering how much I use this. It's ridiculous. Concealers! So, there is the basic side of me that loves Tarte Shape Tape. Yes, I do too. It is fabulous. I think it is a great concealer. Everybody knows it. Everybody talks about it. So, I'm not going to go into big amounts of detail. I use the shade Light. I could probably use one shade up during the summer, because I tan. Not really. It's like involuntary tanning, you know, just from seeing the sun occasionally. So I could use another shade of it, but for the most part, I just have shade Light, and I don't use it when it's too light for me. I also have the Wet n Wild concealer. This was probably actually my most used concealer of 2017, mostly out of laziness because it was just sitting on my vanity the whole time, and it wasn't in a drawer. It wasn't anywhere, you know, where I had to go searching for it. It was just sitting there. From the moment I bought it, it just sat there. And because of that, I use this a ton. It doesn't break apart funny. It has nice coverage. I actually really like it. And this one is in the shade Light Ivory. It is a super cheap concealer and it works beautifully. Late in the year, I tried the ColourPop No Filter Concealer. This is in the shade light neutral. Yeah. This is in the shade light neutral. It looks insanely pale next to my skin, but it does oxidate a little bit. And because of that, it actually works perfectly with my skin tone right now. So that's really cool. I also bought the 2 next darkest shades so that I have one to cover like blemishes and I have one to mix with this one. And you know, I'm covered when it comes to the various skin changes in color. There we go, because I can talk. Okay, let's talk blush. So Milani has this one called Bella Bellini. It is beautiful. It is kind of a rosy gold shade. And look at that. It's just gorgeous. Gorgeous. So I will go ahead and swatch this for you. I mean, it's this lovely kind of pinky peachy toned blush with a gold reflect to it. Like, oh God, look at that. On the cheeks, it is absolutely beautiful. It gives that nice healthy glow to the skin. I'm actually wearing it as my blush today. So it is that little bit of color. If used lightly, then, you know, it doesn't look crazy. It looks beautiful. And it's one of those colors that looks fabulous on almost all skin tones. Another one that I used a ton this year was one of the Clinique Pops, which I will mention this because I do really, really love this. And this is the shade Nude Pop. It doesn't look like much in the pan, but it gives the most natural, just flush to the skin without, you know, making it look like you're wearing a ton of blush. It's just a gorgeous color, and it works really well for me because I'm so pale, and it was honestly one of my most used blushes. I mean, look at this. It's losing the like flower indentation in it because I've used it so much. All right, my next most used blush, I think this might have been a favorite last year as well, but it is the Rose Champagne from Wet n Wild. It is this color here. It's kind of, like you can see, it's got a little bit of a gold glitter in it, but it does not translate onto the face. Like, you don't see that gold glitter. But it's another one of those more nude type shades. It's got a little bit of pink to it. Some days I wear this and I don't actually wear any bronzer. I'll just rosy up my face with a little bit of this blush, and I feel like it just gets the job done and it looks beautiful. That is probably my absolute favorite blush. It's the only blush I actually have a backup of. They put it on clearance at my Walgreens, and whenever they put things on clearance, I'm always afraid it's going to get discontinued or reformulated, and I'm not going to like the reformulation, so I bought a backup because I love this blush. Okay, so next up I'm going to talk about highlighters. This may be the second year in a row that I have called out this particular highlight. I'm not entirely sure, but this is the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. It's number 10, Be My Highlight. This is just, it's the most natural highlight. This is great for if you want to wear a highlight, but you got a job that's not really like high glam makeup, you know? I don't like it when my highlight gives me like a stripe. Like, I want it to look blended in, even if it's blue. I blend that in, you know, put a little bit and blend it in so it looks natural. You know what I mean. I don't like seeing that stripe of highlight. It drives me bonkers. This just melts into the skin and looks so natural. Like, that is the highlight I have on today. And just look at how beautiful that is. And it's seriously like, you can build it up and make it even more strong than it appears. I mean, this honestly, it looks like a pan of nothing. It looks like face powder. But then when you apply it to the skin, you get this nice glow. And even swatched, it ain't doing nothing. It's like almost once you put like a small layer on and blend it out that you get that nice sheen. Like, you can barely even tell that's there. It's very natural. It's very beautiful. But as you can see on the face, it just translates so nice. And this stuff is like $2. I mean, this is my most used highlight. It's got a little bit of a dent in it, but not much. I mean, it's still a little bit goes a long way. I don't understand why it's so beautiful, but it is, and I used the crap out of that this year. Also, in the highlights, BH Cosmetics. They came out with these Spotlight Highlight 6-color palettes. There's also one that has the more brighter colors, like the Anastasia Moonchild palette. I did a swatch and review of both, but this is probably the one I use the most just because the other ones aren't as natural, and you know, I needed to have my makeup look a little bit more natural. But these are gorgeous highlights. They are such good quality and they're cheap. Oh my gosh. BH Cosmetics has some fabulous products, and I mean, it's just insane how gorgeous they translate on the skin, and how just, look at that. That's just that bottom row. That's it. That's that bottom row. Gorgeous highlights. They are beautiful. I don't, like, I got no other words. I want to say something else. I'm geeking out over here because, like, holy crap, these are good and they're so inexpensive. That's what gets me. I love inexpensive, fabulous makeup, and this just, this does it for me. Whew. Get all excited about highlights, but I mean, this inexpensive, fabulous highlights, they translate beautifully on the skin. They're pigmented, they work, they're beautiful. All right, I'm done. Next up, I've got mascaras. My most used mascaras. I got this little baby one of the Bobbi Brown, I don't know, it's the Smoky Eye. This gives the most beautiful natural eyelashes. I mean, it enhances them. They look fuller, they look longer, but it's very natural. Like, it doesn't look like, there's no clumpiness, there's nothing like that. It's just a very, very natural looking mascara, and it's beautiful. I love it. There's nothing wrong with the fact that it looks natural. I use the crap out of this. And it's also got like a natural, or, natural bristle wand where it's not like spiky or anything. Formula's beautiful. Great mascara. The other one that I used a lot was this Grandiose Extreme by Lancome. It's the one with the really pretty like little rose thing in the handle and the really, really wonky wand. Like, it's... Do you see how wonky this wand is?
I got talked into using this by the girls that were at the makeup counters. And honestly, it's one of the things, I'm one of those people, I will do a whole look like this and freaking forget mascara. Like, really, woman, I do it all the time. So, because of that, and working at a makeup counter, I would just go try other mascaras from other brands just to kind of see which ones I liked. This one, okay, granted, this bottle needs to be replaced. It's getting crusty and a little bit harder to work with. But I mean, I'm wearing it today. It gives such good full volume and length, and I mean, it's a little bit chunkier of a mascara than I'm used to using, but damn, does it look good. Like, it doesn't look spidery. It looks good.
Drugstore, cheap, fabulous, still loving my Lash Sensational, still think it's one of the best mascaras at the drugstore, actually, period. I think it's one of the best ones out there. So, do I think I'll be buying like a lot of high-end ones? No, plus I've got a whole drawer full of mascaras from subscription boxes, and yeah, I just really don't need to buy the high-end ones, but I do really love the Lash Sensational one. I think it's fabulous. I do want to try some of the new ones at the drugstore that they've come out with. I've heard that those are really good too. But, tangent, sorry. Those were my favorites. I thought they were fabulous. Just wonderful mascaras. They don't flake. They don't transfer. They stay where they're flipping supposed to. Because you know how sometimes mascaras, they get like all down here. And another tangent. Sorry. Okay, moving on. All right. Next up, I want to talk about my eyeliner. For the most part, majority of the year, I am still using the Physicians Formula little pen. It's not the mattest formula. Actually, I want to say it's more, it dries fairly shiny. I don't know. Well, it's not completely matte, but it doesn't really dry too shiny. I can deal with it. It works really well. It glides on. It goes over my eyeshadows, no matter how glittery or shimmery, it just works. So I like it, and it's like $10. Okay, I've only really got like one lippy to show because I spent a good portion of the year just wearing chapstick. I don't know, it's a lot easier to talk to random people throughout the day and not have to worry about my lipstick migrating. I love my ColourPop, liquid lipsticks, the matte, the satin, the gloss. I love all those. Those take my heart. I love ColourPop lipsticks, the lippy sticks, the liquids, all of them. I love ColourPop lipsticks. So there's one recommendation. My next one is going to be the Wet n Wild Catsuit liquid lips. These things work great. The applicator just hugs your lips. I mean, it's weird because it's got this like little notch taken out of it. But it works. It's beautiful. And this was probably one of my favorite colors. This is the Give Me Mocha. This was, probably my most used color of the year from the Catsuit line. That was a horrible swatch, but it's just kind of a nice chocolatey, mauvey nude. I don't know. I love this color. I think it looks fabulous on me. Alright, last but certainly not least, eyeshadows. Alright, so because most of the year I was working for Clinique, I was mostly using Clinique shadows. A lot of them I was honestly just not very impressed by, but this particular duo I really liked, and it is called Day Into Date. And this is what it looks like. Very basic, kind of a slightly pinky peachy toned light brown and a dark brown. I couldn't tell you what it is, but this just translates beautifully onto the eyes. Like, I don't know why. It doesn't even show up on my screen. Like, you can barely even see it. It's right there. Like, it hardly translates. The brown is just, a light matte brown. But there's something about me just putting this on my eyes. It looks beautiful. It makes me look well put together. I just throw this all over the lid, a little bit of this in the outer V, and then eyeliner. And it's done. Well, and mascara. But it was a very simple look. I really, really liked it. It was my go-to look for a good portion of the year. Like, it's just... It was one of my go-to looks. Also, a good portion of the year, I did use this palette. I know that it is, it was limited edition. It is the Morphe and Kathleen Lights palette, but for the most part, it's just, I was mostly just using, this brow bone color and these brown, these brown shades, which you can get in pretty much any Morphe palette. Honestly, it was there and easy to grab for, and I liked the color combinations. I liked the looks I could get out of this, and I ended up using it a lot. Aside from Morphe, I'm sure nobody saw this one coming, but ColourPop's eyeshadows. I know. Since when do I talk about ColourPop? Okay, so this isn't all my ColourPop eyeshadows. This is just my neutrals. I'm OCD, and I totally organized them based off like brown, like nudes, and I've got one that's like pinks and peachy colors and warm tones and cool tones. Yeah, I'm that person. Ugh, there we go. So these are probably my most used, and like I said, I was doing a lot of very neutral looks. But ColourPop eyeshadows are just amazing. The pigmentation, the quality, and they're only, they're like $4 or $5, but look at that. Please ignore my horribly cleaned off swatched hand. But look at that. Like, it's insanely pigmented. They blend like a dream. They're just beautiful. I also really love all their little eyeshadow palettes, but I didn't get those until the very end of the year, so I couldn't really put them in like the yearly favorites. They'll probably be more like, coming soon in a favorites near you. These are some of the other ones that I have from ColourPop. Yes, these are all ColourPop eyeshadows. Obviously arranged by color families because I'm that OCD. Yeah. But isn't it pretty? All right, so that pretty much wraps up my beauty favorites for 2017. I cannot wait to see what 2018 brings. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye!
I use a, let's see here. Alright. Alright, I feel like I'm really far from the camera today. What's the middle of it? There we go! Sorry about that, didn't really think about it. Now I'm just making a mess. This may be a second year in the row. Wow, I can't talk, no words. Words don't work today. Damn, I got all caught up in that one. Brow strap falling down. Oh yeah, that's sexy. Yeah, at this point I'm in a weird mood. I don't even know what to say. Okay, continuing on. I'm trying to get this done as fast as possible because I know y'all don't want to be sitting here all day. And, you know, it's just, when it comes to favorites, it's just kind of what happens. If I don't say so myself. Oh my god. I think it looks good, if I do say so myself. Wait, 22 minutes already, holy crap. So, because most of the year I was working for Clinique, I'm gonna sit up and stop being all like... Okay. Alright. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up beauty favorites. Other favorites would be things like... Excuse you? Do you see that? Is it... Y'all behave yourselves. Other than that, it would be just... Let me just play with my hair some more. So that pretty much wraps up. This is... Alright, so... What? Stop, put your hand down. Oh my god. Wow. Mine just went completely blank. I think that was everything. Why are you like... And I will see you next time. Like, what the fuck?